This is me freaking out after watching professional farm workers pick fruits and vegetables.
It is so fast.
Farm work takes a lot more skill and athleticism than you might think.
No.
But a lot of the time, people say this kind of work is
low skilled,
unskilled,
low education,
or they just don't value it as much as
Highest skilled workers.
the most skilled, educated workers.
A lot of people come in with low skills. I like merit.
Hey, I'm Yara, and before the coronavirus pandemic, I found myself in the fields of Salinas, California, also known as the salad bowl of the world. Some 70% of the country's lettuce comes from this place, not to mention dozens of other fruits and vegetables we eat every day. But California's massive agriculture industry, which feeds the entire country, runs largely on the backs of undocumented immigrants, mostly from Mexico and Central America.
Yo tengo mucho tiempo aquí, yo nunca he mirado un americano cortando lechugas.
And a lot of the time, they just aren't treated with the respect they deserve. They're among the lowest paid workers in the United States.
Farm workers, we have to be highly skilled to do what we do.
So I wanted to meet the people who are putting food on our plates, learn how difficult and complex farm work can be, and explore how undocumented immigrants came to play such a huge role in American agriculture.
We fail to look at the US-Mexico border as kind of the Ellis Island. We've demonized it.
So what's a typical day like for a farm worker in Salinas, California?
The bus is late.
My journey started here at 5:30 in the morning.
It's very cold. We are on our way to a bus, which we're gonna ride with a lot of other farm workers. We'll be heading to the farm to pick some lettuce and I think cilantro and parsley and some other things. I'm just gonna follow Carla.
Then we met up with Marissa. She's one of the more experienced farm workers.
Todos los días aquí nos reunimos. Por aquí pasan, no nomás nuestro bus, algo otros buses pasan y recogen la gente. Así es de que traemos nuestro café a la mano, un sándwich de peanut butter con jelly o algo. Estar preparadas para el día, para trabajar.
Ya he comido un breakfast burrito.
Then the bus arrived.
So we're in the bus, me and Carla, and Marisa. The bus is thankfully very warm.
De paisa de 36, algo así.
It's actually very nice in here. It's freezing outside. Okay, now the lights are off. Oh my god, the lettuce is here. Wow. They like drop you off right at the location.
Yeah, we're looking for a large knife to give to me so that I can cut the lettuce. Oh, ay mis pies! So I'm just gonna wait here awkwardly. Feels like a dance. Oh, sweet. Oh, you got me a knife. Okay. Thank you. All right. What was that?
I tried picking lettuce.
Oh God.
I failed many times.
This one didn't really work.
And displayed completely unwarranted overconfidence.
I'm getting pretty good at this.
Meanwhile, everyone else was just killing it.
I'm standing here as the sun is rising.
Oh, and I should mention that I felt inclined to talk about my Spanish.
Aprendí yo el español.
And my stepmother.
Mi madrastra es de El Salvador.
Multiple times.
Mi madrastra, que es del Salvador. Mi madrastra es del Salvador. Mi madrastra es del Salvador. Ah, él es del Salvador. Sí, mi madrastra es del Salvador. Ah.
But now, I want to introduce you to Daniel.
¿Tiene hijos?
Tengo hijos.
No, ya tiene 15 uno.
He's a supervisor who directs all the other workers.
¿Qué hace para divertirse?
Les gusta mucho el PlayStation.
And he taught me how to harvest romaine lettuce hearts, which involved stabbing the base very, very precisely, and then skillfully removing the outer layers.
You did it in like 2 seconds.
I took a stab at it myself.
I'm going as fast as I can with my hairnet.
But it took me way longer than everybody else.
¿Y cómo aprendió a hacerlo tan rápido?
Trabajando aquí con ellos.
Or I just ended up screwing it up.
Oh God, okay.
I had some successes though.
That's it.
Ah!
Daniel, meanwhile,
So fast.
and it wasn't just Daniel. All the other farm workers were going even faster and working for hours on end.
Van a terminar esta línea, ¿sí? Hoy?
Seguro sí. No es mucho.
No es mucho.
No.
We have a lot of time before we reach the end of this.
Oh, by the way, if you didn't recognize her, that's Marissa. I got to know her even better out in the field.
Yo tengo mucho tiempo aquí, yo nunca he mirado un americano cortando lechugas.
Marisa, ¿por cuánto tiempo está haciendo este trabajo?
Ya aquí 9 años haciendo este trabajo.
9 años, ay Dios mío, wow. ¿Y su espalda?
Muy bien.
Muy bien, oh, qué bueno. Mi espalda. No sé si puedo preguntarle a usted cuántos años.
Claro que sí, voy a cumplir. No, es ok. Voy a tener 54 años ya.
Oh, wow.
Y vengo de Sinaloa, México. Vine aquí desde muy joven, aquí a este país. Y por 10 años estuve como ilegal. Bendito Dios que para el 2000 ya tenía mi estatus migratorio bien. Tengo 4 hijos. Mis hijos son nacidos aquí. Ajá, sí. Y también tengo 9 nietos.
Oh, qué bueno.
Suponer, o tal vez para muchos, es darle una vida mejor a nuestros hijos. Este país da tantas cosas también para que estudien los hijos, que dan apoyo para los hijos. Entonces, si nosotros estamos trabajando aquí, puede hacer que nuestros hijos tengan apoyo para su estudio y tengan una buena carrera.
So very clearly, this was hard work. But harvesting parsley, that was even harder. And my new friend,
Eduardo,
was gonna show me the ropes.
tú tienes que cortarle allí, no cortarle de acá.
Okay, so first you cut it super precisely.
Y luego agarras más, poquito más.
Shake it.
Oops, oh.
Then bundle it all together with this twirling motion.
There is no way I'm going to do that.
And masterfully slice the ends off.
Abajo en el ojo.
Except the thing is, this all happens very fast. Like crazy fast.
It is so fast. ¿Quiere tenemos una competición para ver quién puede hacer más en 60 segundos? ¿Tú y yo? Sí.
In the span of 60 seconds, Eduardo cut 11 bunches, while I, on the other hand,
Don't cut my fingers off. 1, 2.
Time.
Oh. 60 seconds.
Ahí tenés, ahí, Win.
but who's the fastest of them all? Meet Maria.
That's fast. And your hands are like moving like a. You know what I mean? It's amazing. How many of these can you do per hour?
Like 20 boxes,
How long did it take you to get this fast?
almost like 3 years.
3 years to get this fast.
Yes,
What do you say to people who say like this is like unskilled labor or something like that?
they have to come and try it.
I wanted to go back to one of the first questions I had when I started this video. Why are these farm workers called unskilled?
I think it's just pure ignorance.
That's Javier Zamora. He was a picker himself and now owns his own farm. So he knows personally how difficult this job can be. And I learned that firsthand when he taught me how to pick strawberries.
I don't want to hurt it, like this precious strawberry.
It's harder than you think.
Okay, so just pick it. Oh, did I do too much?
Don't pick the stem. There's actually a technique to pick strawberries.
You have to find a ripe strawberry and pull it toward yourself just the right amount. And then you twist it.
You tug and then you twist. You hear that click, click, and then you go around, make sure you're not missing one.
But you can't pull so hard that you also take the stem. And you can't squeeze so hard that you bruise the strawberry.
Eat this because you already bruised it and people don't want it.
And you have to do it one-handed, hunched over, row after row, all while making sure it looks beautiful.
And then you start working on your final layer.
You're arranging them.
That is correct, though.
So there's a cosmetic kind of element to
Hell
this. The complexity of it, you gotta look for how it feels, you gotta look for the color. There's so many things that are going.
Farm workers, we have to be highly skilled to do what we do. How strawberries are picked, how they are arranged, how they're chosen for them to be appealing to the customer.
Skills I clearly didn't have.
Hold on, I'll get it, I promise you.
Don't twist.
Oh, I see.
Did you feel that?
I felt that.
Finally,
yeah.
there
it's
you
like
go.
a tick, tick, like that.
You finally found the G spot on a freaking berry.
Okay, so tug and then twist.
Oh, there you go.
Yes!
Okay, bismillah.
No good.
You don't understand how delicate this is because The strawberry is fully intact, but because some of the leaves have been ripped off, this part is prone to spoilage now. The fact that they just like boom, boom, like do like 5 in one hand without shedding any of the leaves. Ah!
If they didn't have the skills, I'm telling you, the billions of dollars that are sold in strawberries would not be happening.
Javier says the workers at his farm get paid between $15 and $21 an hour. But that's not common. Fruit and vegetable pickers in the United States usually get paid $12 to $13 an hour, and about 1 in every 3 farm worker families lives below the poverty line. That's frankly incomprehensible. Hours and hours of fast-paced, back-breaking work in the beating sun, and you still can't make enough money to feed your family? The more produce I picked, the more I realized that this is insanely difficult work that requires tons of skill. The raw physical endurance and technique of picking lettuce for hours on end, the manual dexterity, the delicate musician-like dance of fingers of rapidly harvesting parsley, the lightning-fast mental calculations, and yes, even aesthetic design of strawberry picking, and the sheer athleticism of it all. To call this low-skilled or unskilled or whatever is just preposterous. Look, it's true, there are jobs that require years of specialized training, but specialized training and fancy degrees shouldn't be the only way we measure value. So many jobs are about how expertly you perform a task, even if it's the same task over and over and over. That includes some very high-paying jobs.
Right down the middle on a killer crossover!
Jobs you rarely see anyone call low-skilled. In much the same way, there's folks who specialize for years in lettuce, parsley, strawberries, and become experts at it.
How many years have you been doing lettuce?
I've been doing this for 38. My older brother's probably 40.
Dang!
Yeah, we grew up in it. It's like a sport. You know, there's kids that are specialized in baseball. There's kids that specialize in basketball.
So like you are kind of a lettuce athlete.
Yeah, this is skilled labor. Not anybody can do it.
But we don't glamorize this work the way we do with other professions.
Thank you to the Academy.
Instead, when we use language that undervalues this labor, or any labor really, it shows these workers as dispensable. It plays into the hands of those who want to keep their wages low and deny them dignified working conditions, or those who want to ban them from our country.
I don't see a lot of people wanting to take these jobs on. This is not an easy job. So, you know, if people want to come and try it, hey, tell me where to pick them up. We'll send buses over to pick them up.
Uno no viniera a hacerlo, entonces, ¿quién lo iba a hacer?
That's Grillo. He's an undocumented farm worker who insisted on showing his face. He said he wanted our viewers to know about the dangers faced by migrant farm workers like himself.
No vinimos pues a quererle robar a nadie ni o a matar a alguien que luego dicen que los migrantes a eso vienen. Cuando uno cruza el desierto y eso es un riesgo de ahí, porque no sabes si vas a llegar aquí o no. Y uno viene con ese riesgo, pero pensando de que vas a ganar un dinero para poder ayudar a la familia. No es una vida normal, no tienes documento, entonces sales a las calles, a las tiendas o algo, y pues vas con ese miedo de que si te encuentras en migración o algo, te van a sacar.
That was a year ago. When we followed up with Grillo recently, we learned that he'd been deported. Here's a video he sent us from Mexico.
Me vine para México, para Oaxaca. De acá soy, a ver a la familia, y entonces quería volver a cruzar otra vez para poder seguir trabajando. Ya no se pudo.
Grillo was arrested and detained while trying to cross the U.S.-Mexico border, a journey that left him with severe injuries.
3 meses encerrado, me encerraron 3 meses en prisión ahí con inmigración. Pues estando ahí me dio el COVID. A mí me fue muy duro para estar ahí encerrado 3 meses por querer cruzar para ir a trabajar hacia Estados Unidos.
Officially, about 50% of U.S. farm workers are reported to be undocumented, but those within the industry estimate much higher rates, as much as 75%.
Yo le diría a las gentes americanas que nosotros pues no vamos a robarles ni trabajos, los empleos, nomás simplemente vamos a trabajar para poder ganar un poco más de dinero, de sustento para la familia que se queda acá en México.
But how did undocumented immigrants come to play such a big role in the U.S. agriculture industry? Well, workers like Grillo have actually been crossing the U.S.-Mexico border for over 100 years. But things really take off with something called the Bracero program.
And the term comes from brazo, a strong-armed person.
That's Ignacio Ornelas Rodriguez. He's the grandson of a migrant farm worker, and today he's dedicated his life to studying their history in Salinas Valley.
What is the Bracero program?
It's a labor agreement between the U.S. and Mexico, for Mexico to provide ample supply of agricultural workers.
It was the largest guest worker program in U.S. history. An estimated 2 million Mexican workers, mostly men, came to work on farms in the U.S. between 1942 and 1964. Why? Well, for one, during World War II, a lot of farm workers started working in factories to help with the war effort. And two, well, there's also evidence that U.S. farm owners just wanted cheap, exploitable foreign labor. So the U.S. brought in Mexican workers through the Bracero program.
It's a very controversial program. Over the years, we found a lot of different abuses. Everything from wages to not having enough breaks, being charged for meals, being charged for room and board.
Not to mention the actual brutal working conditions.
These braceros would have this motion where they're just like crisscrossing and they're stooped over.
Oh, wow.
For
long periods of time.
We were talking about hours without breaks.
Then there's moments like this. Before workers were allowed in the US, they were disinfected with DDT, a toxic pesticide that would later be banned. But Ignacio has also documented another side to this story, a good side. He says braceros could earn around 4 times as much in the US as they did in Mexico, and making it as a bracero was seen as a big achievement.
You have to understand that these are workers that are being recruited. It's a rite of passage for you to enter the workforce as a bracero. There's a recruiter that's going to Mexico to inspect the bracero, and they want to make sure that you're a strong-armed bracero, and they're going to check your hands to see, oh, these hands are kind of soft, man. You're not a worker. You're an office worker. You're a banker.
I'm going to be rejected from the bracero program.
Many of them were rejected, again, because they didn't have the skills. And I think that's what people don't understand about farm work, is that it's a very highly skilled work. Not anyone can do it.
The attitude of Americans toward these guest workers was different too.
Initially, the workers are welcomed. There's kind of a fanfare parade, if you will.
Oh, that's in very stark contrast to today.
Yeah.
Welcoming ceremony for immigrants.
The Bracero program ended in 1964 after activists Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta campaigned against its labor abuses. And, big surprise, a lot of Americans thought the braceros were threatening their jobs. Most braceros would go back to Mexico after the harvest season ended, but hundreds of thousands made the United States their home and became Mexican Americans. The Bracero program basically cemented migration patterns that we started seeing 100 years ago and still see today.
We look at Ellis Island and we look at these photographs of the immigrants coming from Europe. We've looked at Angel Island in San Francisco. We've romanticized that, but we fail to look at the US-Mexico border as kind of the Ellis Island. We've demonized it.
So look, American agriculture is built on the backs of migrant farm workers. And it's been this way for a long, long time. But the undignified way these human beings are treated, that's something that needs to change. And how we talk about the work they do, and the work that millions of other folks do for that matter, has a huge impact. Avoiding terms like low-skilled or unskilled isn't just about being politically correct. First off, it's just fundamentally wrong. Farm work is hard, and yes, skilled. And I learned that the hard way.
Oh, God.
And language like unskilled not only devalues their labor, but it dehumanizes an entire group of people. It makes it easier for those in power to deny them rights, wages, and the ability to build a life here just like the rest of us. So if you take anything away from this video, let it be this. All work is valuable, no matter what that work is or who's doing it. So the next time you pick up a box of strawberries, toss together a fresh salad, or sink your teeth into some roasted cauliflower, think about the people, the faces, the skillful work that went into bringing you your food.
Is this one good?
So remember that he said to use this part of the knife when you're chopping the bottom. He said you took off too much of the trunk this time. He says you need to keep up with the machine.
Oh, God.
The problem he's saying is that you're cutting too much of the bottom off, so it's losing like the structural integrity of the lettuce.